what was your favorite video game growing up that's only one right answer?
Why, is the right answer Tetris?
Yeah!
Oh, okay. Let's say I don't want to be wrong, so let's say Tetris.
No.
I was young when I played it, but I really loved Pokemon. That was my game.
Oh, you're a Pokemon guy.
I'm a Pokemon generation. I was perfectly the right age for Pokemon, and I was part of that.
That's a good answer.
Crazy. It was like that and Tamagotchi, those things stick out in my mind. Actually, I never got a Tamagotchi. I got an off-brand equivalent when I was a little bit older, but for some reason I could never get a Tamagotchi. I don't know. Were they expensive, Tamagotchi? Anyway, what was your favorite game when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, Super Mario and
Super
Tetris.
Mario.
I love them so much to my heart.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Mamma mia.
John, this is a story about a licensing battle. I mean, Tetris is much more than a game. It's a cultural phenomenon, right? How do you pick a narrative and choose what to focus on this story?
Yeah, I think you have to just choose one character and try and tell it mainly through their point of view, yeah? And I think that Noah, who wrote the script, obviously chose Hank. He literally goes on a journey, You're really telling a story from someone who's discovering the game, who's on a journey, literally on a journey, metaphorically as well, but on a journey to get the rights for this. And I think because Hank's character is so charismatic and he's so, spontaneous, that was the right choice for a movie version of it,
Not too bad.
It's easy for us to acknowledge today, how engaging and intuitive Tetris is. But if you go back to almost 40 years when, you programmed it and you are the only player, the only one who ever played Tetris, could you imagine how far it would go?
Well, that is very true. It was a very short period of time when I was the world champion in Tetris. And during that time, the game didn't have any decoration or even score. I just keep playing, pretending that I'm debugging something. But in fact, I can't stop to play myself, At that moment, I realized that this is a good game. But, I could never imagine what happened later.
And
yes.
Hank, you first saw Tetris at CES, right?
Yeah.
So could you imagine when you saw it? Can you describe your feeling and your understanding of what you were in front of you there?
I was a publisher in Japan at the time, so I was just looking for games to bring to Japan. Here was a game that didn't have any particular culture attached to it, so if I liked it, that means Japanese people could also like it. Anybody could like it. I thought this game can be played by men, women, by older people, by anybody. So that's what made me think that it would be a hit in Japan, and it was.
And everywhere else.
And everywhere else.
Tetris?
Tetris.
Tetris. Tetris. Tetris. It's the perfect game.
What would you say is the craziest story Hank or Alexey told you that you would never believe that in a second if you only saw that on a movie? But it actually happened.
Well, I guess just the events of the film. The whole story is wild and crazy. And the fact that they managed to do what they did, given how sort of fraught a time it was to be in Russia then, defies credulity. And Hank just had such a sort of little regard for his own well-being. Well, either that or he just didn't really understand what he was doing, and I suspect it was maybe a combination of the two. It's a wild story, and that's why I wanted to make the film.
So when Hank was trying to get the rights, Kevin Maxwell, who was after the rights, and Robert Stein, they were both going for us, and they all turned up in Russia at Elorg, who was the company who had the rights, on exactly the same day, and the Russians separated them, and they didn't know each other were in the actual building, yeah? And it feels like a very much of a movie device, yeah? But
it does.
Yeah, but it did actually happen, so I think... I mean, there's so many of them, but that's one that just springs to mind.
That is like a Scooby-Doo scene. You're going from one door to the next. It's crazy. It's a very tense scene and very well played because, you're the master of cliffhangers. That's a good punctuation to the whole scenario.
It's difficult making a movie about people arguing over the rights for something, and make it intense. But, if you hire great actors, that's half the battle,
Come on, you guys are the kings of cliffhangers.
There's another thing coming back now that is not only Tetris. I mean, Tetris never went away, as a matter of fact, but I'm talking about mustaches.
You're pretty blessed in the mustache
you think?
department.
I mean,
yeah. I have to say, man, if you shave this and sort of coiffed your hair back, you'd look very Hank Rogers.
Oh my God. I'll do that.
You look pleased about that.
But you represent them, man. Was that your own mustache?
No, God, no, it wasn't.
that
It was
was
a
a
horrible glued-on thing that is not something I'd recommend to anybody. I was last in the queue for mustaches when they were handed out.
But you can grow a nice mutton chop, right?
Yes, I could do that. Yeah, no, it's fine through here. It's just
Right.
it's a little lacking there. Yeah.
You would look good in mutton chops, I can say that.
Oh right. What do you?
You know why?
Okay.
There's this wonderful scene when you guys are upgrading the game together because, you know, no matter how many lines you completed, you will only clear the lowest one. You know, you should be able to complete all of them at once, which pumps up the like the reward system in our brains. Did you create this together? How can you walk through how was that upgrade to the game?
Generally, we did work on some aspect of the game together. Well, what you saw in the movie was kind of a bit of exaggeration. My game was very much computer-oriented. My main platform was computer. As far as video console is concerned, it definitely needs some kind of massaging, I would put it this way. And Hank was very helpful with that.
Yeah, so when I was the publisher, I basically looked at other games that were popular in Japan and said, well, we need to do something similar. For one, people, when you're playing Tetris, during the game, they cannot understand how they're making the score because it's getting faster and faster and you have no time to look at the numbers. So I broke up the game so that you would finish a level and then it would score you at the end, like in the Game Boy.
And one great aspect of, you know, bringing this whole complex discussion into a movie was, you know, the elements of, you know, turning the movie sometimes into a video game, like the 8-bit aesthetics, you know, and transforming the movie like level 1 and the players and, you know, kind of mirroring to a game that we're playing. Was that like since the beginning in the script or something that, you know, built up when you were...
It was both really. It was in the script, like level 1 and game over and start again, and all these little different chapters were written in. But it wasn't as involved or as sophisticated as it actually turned out to be. And I think once we got into post-production and we started working on these, we started having fun with it and then saying, right, okay, we need to add a little bit more. And then it mushroomed from there because then we started using it for like exterior shots of buildings and stuff, which was never meant to be. Yeah, it was in the script, but it got developed as post-production went through.
It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
Did you understand at all when you were growing up that, you know, video games had such a backstory, like, you know, this crazy one? Did you get interested at all? Were you a video game guy growing up?
No, not to that extent. Not to the, you know, I mean, I played games, but I certainly wasn't looking into the stories behind how games are created or brought to an audience. I don't think a lot of people do. I think, you know, that's not, I mean, people who are fans of the gaming and fans of extraordinary stories probably know something about this story, but to the average person, people don't know. So it is exciting that hopefully people will be drawn to the movie for that reason.
All right, man. Thank you so much. You're a dear. Thank you
thanks,
so much.
man.
All
It was
the best.
really great speaking with you, man.
Hi, my name is Alexander Ottoni from Jovem Nerd, Brazil.
Did you
Hey,
say
Taron,
Alexander?
how are you, man?
Hi. Did you say Alexander or Tony, or is?
Ottoni, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it's cool. Both good names. They just don't.
Oh, thank you, man.
They're just not similar in any way.
Not too bad.